And without further ado, let me briefly introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Cheng Woi, a certified health coach, a certified sleep science coach, and a licensed brain health trainer. And he has also an author of the book named Leading with Rest, the Science of Sleep and High Performance Leadership. And let's put our hands together to welcome Dr. Cheng Woi on stage to share about today's topic, the Blue Zones to energy, performance, and longevity. Yeah, Dr. Tan, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Lancer, for the introductions. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure whether you can see me well. Okay, I'll just have a quick sharing about this book, right, which is the one that I suppose the focus of today's, the Blue Zones: Secrets for Living Longer. Right. Today we're talking about a community whose average age is easily 100 and beyond. And I think what is more important and probably more interesting to you is you don't just want to have a long life, right? But what you're more interested is also, apart from having a long life, you also want to have a good life. So what are the secrets of all those people who have already done that? So today we're going to briefly uncover some of this. And since we have, I think most of you are online, so perhaps you want to share, your thoughts as well as we move along. And we have a small audience here, so why not we make this interactive as well? Right? There's nothing technical in today's sharing. It's a bunch of common sense put together. So we welcome you to, to share your thoughts, and let's move along. So I think with the advancement of science and the medical field and all that, our average life has actually, dramatically increased. Right? If you look at the improvement in healthcare, sanitations, invention of different types of vaccine and antibiotic, our life has actually increased quite a lot. But the irony is that many people still feel they're actually older than who they are, right? If you've seen people, probably in their 50s, but they feel like they're in the 70s. So you wonder, what's the question? What actually happened? Right? Issues like more fatigue, people feel less energy, like chronic diseases, right? People suffer from high blood pressures, right? Diabetes used to be non-existent 50, 60 years ago, but look at diabetes today. It's almost so prevalent. 1 out of 5 Malaysians adults actually suffer from diabetes, and they wonder why. Now, some people age, two people with the same age, one is actually looking vibrant, active, and the other person, who is always lethargic, complain about stress and all that. So you don't know why. Now, I think there's a difference between chronological age and biological age. Right? All of us actually have two types of ages. Right? The chronological age is something that goes with time. The moment you are born, right, to the time we are right now, there's nothing you can do. So it's a given, right? It's a matter of time. But what about our biological age? It's actually how our body behaves, right, in a particular point in time. A person could have, chronological age of 70, but it feels like he's like in the 50s, right? So what accounts for that, right? So the key thing is we have a choice. Biological age responds very, very well to the choices that we make, what we eat, right? How we handle stress, right? How we sleep, how we downshift and recover. So it's a matter of choice, right? People in blue zones have actually discovered all of the secrets, right? Now, just to give you for some of you here who may not be familiar with blue zones, this is typically at areas of the world. Originally, there are 5 areas in the world where people live, 100 years and beyond, the so-called the centenarians. Yeah, people who actually live, easily 100 years and beyond. And it's not just about living long, but the more important thing is they live happily and they live healthily. Right, so let's take a look at some of these places. Right? First is Sardinia in Italy, right, that have the longest living male in this world. And then you have Icaria, which is an exotic place in Greece. You have Nicoya, right, another exotic place in the country of Costa Rica. All sound very exotic to us. And then Linda Loma, surprisingly, in California, right, the American Blue Zone. And finally, we have Okinawa, which I'm sure we are more familiar with Okinawa. Okinawa actually has the longest living female in this world. Right? Different cultures, different diets, and different lifestyles. But there's one similarities. Right? All of them seem to be living very long and enjoy their life to the fullest. Right? So what are the common denominators? So would the floor like to share with me? What do you think are the secrets of their longevity? Billy, you have any thoughts on that? Let's make this a little bit more interactive. Lenzo, maybe you have some thoughts. What do you think make them, able to live so long and so happily?
Maybe they live with the nature flow.
Okay, yeah, live with nature. How about Ifa? What do you think? Very good. It's a question about food intake. Yeah.
Good mood as well.
Good mood as well. Bowling. The lifestyles. Yeah. Okay. How about our friends here? I thought you are very good in diet. I was told. Dr. Loh tell me that you are very good in. Yeah.
Even say online their mindset when they are less stressed.
Excellent. That's very true. Right. Okay. So let's look at now the research. Blue Zones is a team from National Geographic scholar led by this gentleman called Dan Bertner. So he and his team actually went round and did extensive research, and they came out with 9 common factors, right, for longevity. It's what they call the Power 9 itself, right? So if you look at Power 9, you see that somebody mentioned about move naturally, right? And somebody talked about plant scent, the mindset, right, downshift, which is handle stress, how you recover, how you slow down intentionally, and so on. Right. So we're not going to talk about each of this because of time issues. Right. I would like to leave some questions for Q&A later on. Right. But suffice to say, if you can actually categorize this, there are actually 4 main systems that is integrally linked to our lifestyles. So I call this a 4 system. Right. The body system, the recovery system, the purpose system, and finally is the connection system. Right? I would selectively feature some of those interesting things and share with you. Right. First, the body system. Right. I think Ifa mentioned about diet. Right. Ifa mentioned about diet, and what you see is people in blue zones. Right? Maybe we talk about it. People in blue zone, they eat a lot of plant-based diet. Plant-based diet. About 95% of the food that they eat, no matter whether they are in Okinawa, they are in Ikigai, or they're in Sardinia and all that, what you realize is they actually eat a lot of plant-based diet, which means that not so much of meat. Right? Approximately 5% of what they eat is actually meat, but 95% is actually plant-based and whole food itself. Right? To them, food is considered as a medicine. Right? Unlike what most people think, right? You want to eat healthy means that you need to spend expensive money on food and on, but that's not really true. Right? In blue zones, people eat peasants' food because these are people who don't really have a lot of money. Right? These are all peasants, farmers, shepherds and people like that. But they eat very healthily, plant-based predominantly. Right? The likes of your whole grains, your legumes, and vegetables and things like that. Right? So food is considered to be medicine because they understand the medicinal effects of food. Now, there's another concept called Hara hachibu. Right? Hara hachibu. It's 80% full. Right? How many of you here like to eat until you're 100%? So you have people? Yeah?
How do we know 80% or 90% or 100%?
That's a good question, now, your brain will actually tell you, right? Now, what happens is if you eat slowly instead of rushing to eat and all that, it takes about 20 minutes for the brain to actually realize that you're actually full. So if you eat slowly, moderately and all that, the brain will tell you you're full. By the time the brain senses you're already full, you're almost 80%. It's called a Hara hachibu itself. Right? That itself has actually proved to be very useful if some of you who want to lose weight, right, or you have some chronic diseases and all. These are very, very effective. Hara hachibu. It's a term in Japanese. The Okinawan people are calling it Hara hachibu. At least I know one thing. If you eat 80% full, you don't have to unbuckle yourself. And this is very interesting questions by my friend who is also in one of my community is asking these questions. Do we eat to live, or do we live to eat? So I give this thought for you to think about it, right? Now, the other thing is about movement, right? Somebody mentioned, movement as part of our life, right? People at Blue Zones, they incorporate movement, right? They don't see it as separate and distinct, right? I think here in modern life, we like to think that, we have no time to go to gym, whereas people in Blue Zones, movement is actually part and parcel of their life. They have to travel from places to places, right, just by foot and all that, because of the environment that they live in. Whereas here in the modern lifestyle, we tend to think that you have to exercise, and that's separate from that. Recall one of the conversations with Billy, right? Billy was sharing that, he's busy now with his kids, and work is coming out and all that, so he has no time to go and cycling. But we were just saying, why don't you play with your kids more, right? Why don't you walk a bit more, incorporate movement, just like what the people, in Blue Zones are doing. Right? Movement is part and parcel of their life. Right? It's no distinct. So recovery, right? We talk about slow down, right? Time to slow down, right? For them, people in Blue Zones, they take recovery as part of their life, right? Whereas in modern people, many of us think that you only recover, right, when it's necessitated. Let's say if you are ill, then you force yourself to recover. Whereas people in Blue Zone, they take time to downshift, right? They take time to enjoy with their families, they have family dinner together, things like that. It's part and parcel of what they do, right? It's also very good for stress management, right? Sleep and recovery, yeah, Polly?
From Hussein, he said he asked move 10 minutes increase X years of life. Is there any data that say that if you move how much and then you'll increase how many years of your life? Is this statement true?
That is a very, very good question. In fact, it is absolutely true. Right? Science is telling us that, let's say if you have 30 minutes to to exercise a day, right? Instead of going to gym one shot, 30 minutes, and then for the rest of the day you remain sedentary, right? The effect is less profound compared to, let's say you do a 10 minutes walk, especially after the meal, after your heavy meal, right? The main meal and all that, you just walk, right? The idea of walking is to activate your muscles. This part of the muscles called soleus muscles, right, which is going to regulate your blood sugar. The three things that you will benefit is, number one, your blood sugar regulations. Number two is your blood pressure. Right? Walking is proven to be very good for blood pressure. And number three is your sympathetic nervous system. It helps you to downshift from high stress, which is sympathetic, to parasympathetic, which is rest and digest system. So I cannot tell you, I don't have a figure how many years, right? But I've seen studies that shows that 7,500 steps a day seem to be something that is, very, very ideal, right, to extend your life. I will tell you the number in the lab, but for me, what I've seen, easily 7 years and beyond. Yeah, so it's a good question. Thank you for the questions.
Okay.
Right. Sleep and recovery. Right? This is the area that I'm most passionate about. Right? How the body, unlike what most people think, right? Many people think that sleep is actually a downtime, but the irony is, sleep is the time when your body is, heavily or actively repair and rejuvenate. Right? In fact, your brain is actually more active during sleep. There's so much that the body is doing to help you to heal, and it's absolutely one of the most productive time for the day. So another important system that we talk about is having a purpose itself. Right? All of us, when we live, do we live with a purpose? Right? People in Blue Zones definitely understand that. This concept about Ikigai, right? In Japan, Okinawa, they call it Ikigai, right? Which means that wake up in the morning having a purpose of what you want to do. Usually when we talk about purpose, it's actually purpose beyond just for the benefit of yourself. Maybe you want to live for your family, you have a purpose for a certain missions in your life. Right? In Costa Rica, it's called Plan de Vida. Now, this is interesting, right? The researchers at Blue Zones reported that having a purpose in life, the Ikigai itself, can actually extend your life by up to 7 years. So it's a very good investment, having a purpose. Encourage you all to have your purpose laid out. Finally, about the connection system, right? We are individuals but we are all connected to each other, one another, right? We live in a world of interconnectedness, interdependence. All of us are dependent on each other, right? Now, in Blue Zone, there's this principle called love one first, right? Love one first, meaning to say that you connect with your family, right? The idea of family is not just about, our nucleus family, which means that we and our, us and our children, but it extends beyond that, right? Many of the people in Blue Zones, they have their parents. The parents actually live together with them. And some of them even have the grandchildren, all that. So they really respect the elderly, right? The older you get, the more respect you command from the youngsters. I'm not saying so much of this happening in today's society, but the researchers are telling us that investing time with your family, play with your kids, take your parents out, spend time with them, can actually extend your lives by up to 6 years. Again, very good ROI. Right? Having a faith base, right? Many people in the Blue Zones, they belong to, of course, if you look at the different areas, the different community, different faith and all this, right? Going to church, for example, right, 4 times a month is proved to be able to extend their life by 4 to 14 years. So, but it doesn't have to be just Christianity. Let's say if you're a Muslim, you're a Buddhist and all that, right? Any of these things, it transcends beyond just religions, right? And even if you don't have religions, you can also, join with a secular group. As long as you have a certain missions together, right? That is something that is very good for your longevity. This concept about moai. Moai is a term in Okinawa. It means that it's a very strong social circle, right? People get together, with a certain strong bonds together, helping one another. Example, those people from, let's say, Intel, you have a book club here. Can the few of you become moai, right? Helping each other, their times to share beyond just normal relationship. In times of need, people in moai get together. I realized this quite recently, but it's a very interesting fact. This thing's about social isolation, about loneliness. Loneliness, right? Now, researchers at Blue Zones are telling us this. Now, in times of, let's say, emergency, in times of need and all that, do you have at least 3 friends that you can call? 3 friends that you can call up, can get some help and all that. Right? Let's just think about it. If you don't have that, they're telling us that you're actually shaving 8 years from your life. Right? Loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day in terms of the health impact itself. And that is actually statistically proven as well. I've seen studies that tell us that, if you have social isolation, your risk of dying early can actually increase by 32%. So let's go out and get some friends, right? Let's form a right tribe and all this. Right? Of course, when you mix with people, you also want to mix with people with the right values, right? Let's say our goal is to be healthy, you want to mix with your tribe who's also health conscious, right? I'm sure some of you here are really health conscious people. You don't want to mix with people who like to eat junk food all the time and all that. That is going to affect your health as well, right? Yes.
Loneliness is bad for the health as smoking 15 cigarettes. So with the one that without at least 3 friends, so they will choose to 15 cigarettes a day.
Right, what it says is actually the impact, right? The consequences to your health. Yeah. We all know the impact of smoking a lot, right? The cigarettes and all that.
But if they like to take a cigarette, they will choose the 15 cigarettes per day instead of choosing at least 3 friends.
Yeah. This is just giving you a picture of what it is, right? You could be a smoker, right? How do you know? A lot of smokers, they have good friends around, right? But the fact that they are trying to tell you is if you are lonely, you have no friends and all that, the consequential health impact is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes. And we know that lung cancer is one of the major cause of death. In fact, in Malaysia, it's the second major cause of death, right? Predominantly because of smoking. So if you imagine, right, you don't smoke, right? You live a very healthy lifestyle, but then again, you have no friends. You're always lonely, that impact to you. It's almost like smoking 15 cigarettes, a day. That's what it says. All right. So just to sum up, these are some of the major difference between our modern lifestyle. Right, we are sedentary all the time, whereas people at Blue Zone, they move naturally. Right, modern people, we eat fast food all the time. Right? Eat on the go. You just grab and you have your working lunch. Right, whereas people in Blue Zone, they eat intentionally. Right, they take time out. Right, they probably take 1 hour, 2 hours just to enjoy their lunch or dinner and so on. Right, in the modern world, we are always connected. But connection in terms of digital connections, right? All of us are on social media, we are texting and all that stuff. But do we connect to real people, right? Unlike people in the Blue Zone, they really connect and they downshift regularly, right? In the modern life, you are constantly stressed. In the Blue Zones, people have a purpose, very clear purpose. Ikigai, right? The reason they wake up. And relationship in the modern life is optional, whereas in the Blue Zone, they really prioritize connections, like the bigger purpose and connections to each other. Now, this is something very interesting, right? If you think about places that we mentioned just now, Ikaria, Sardinia, Nicoya, all these seem to be far away places, right? And then they happen naturally. The environment is such that people live long, not because they intentionally want to live long, but because of the environment and the lifestyle that they adopt that make them having such a longevity, right? So Blue Zone used to happen naturally, right? But do we have to go all the way to all those places in order to enjoy or experience Blue Zones? What happened now is we can now design Blue Zone intentionally, right? We can design Blue Zone intentionally. You don't have to go to Sardinia to experience a Blue Zone. In fact, I think one of the members, right, from book club was sharing like this Hilton resort. Yeah, they had this Hilton resort. People intentionally create a zone. They call it a Blue Zones experience, so that people can actually enjoy the Blue Zone lifestyles. Right. The point I'm trying to tell you is this: there is an emergence of one new Blue Zones, which is very close to where we live. Right, Singapore. Right, Singapore is now the Blue Zone 2.0. Right. Does anybody know what is the life expectancy in Singapore? I'll make a guess.
90,
Sorry?
90,
90. I really said 90.
85.
You're absolutely right, Lanson. Yeah. Singapore has one of the longest living community. In fact, the women in Singapore is even longer life, something like 88 or something. Right? It's quietly happened. Right? And you wonder why Singapore? Right? Singapore doesn't have the natural, the hilly areas. People don't have to climb mountains, unlike in Sardinia and all those places. But why on earth is Singapore a Blue Zones, right? And the answer is, you can actually design your own Blue Zone by yourself, right? That is the purpose of us having this sharing this morning, right? You can actually intentionally design. Now, to get to that, I like to share with you this concept of what we call a structural dynamics itself. Right? Structural dynamics says that the structure actually determines behavior, right?
Okay.
And behavior,
The EE don't get.
yeah, it doesn't get it, right? Right, never mind. Structure determines behavior, and behavior determines outcome. Right, say that again. Structure determines behavior, and behavior actually determines the outcome. Now, how do we put that into a practical perspective? Let's just say you want to be healthy, right? You want to be healthy. Your outcome is you want to be healthy. So what is the structure? What's the structure that we can create, right? Maybe to give you a perspective, you say structure could be, let's say, an environment, right? An environment. So if you live in an environment where junk food is all over the place, example, right? The easiest thing when you are hungry, the first thing you grab is maybe your Coke and your Twisties or some of those junk foods. So that is a structure, right? Easily available. So the behavior is, when you see that, you're going to grab those food and you're going to eat, right? So ultimately, what's going to happen? What will be the outcome? Maybe you gain weight, right? Energy levels, long-term, maybe some chronic diseases and all these things. So to do that, right? If you want a better outcome, what should we do? If you want a better outcome, what can we do?
Lock it away into the cupboard. All the food block.
Very, very smart. Yeah. So if you change the structure, example, right? If you want to change the structure, with a better outcome, you can actually change the structure, right? When they say the structure is just like what Lenzo suggests, right? You remove all the, maybe all the junk food, and you replace with all the healthy food. For example, like the fruits, the salads and all those things. So healthy nuts and so on. So when you snack, you actually snack on all of those healthy things, right? So this is what it called, right? Change the structure, change the outcome, right? We don't need to always rely on our willpower in order to change the outcome, right? If being healthy, we have to be very determined, have very disciplined, all that, which is all good, right? But you may not always get it. One day you may lose your discipline. One day you may, you may lose your willpower. But if you change the structure, you can actually change the outcome. Make healthy food available, right? Easily accessible, right? That's going to change the outcome. So that is exactly what the Singapore government is doing. That's what they are doing, right? Now, Singapore, as we all know, is a small country, right? It's very resource-constrained country, but the government is very pragmatic, right? In healthcare, we talk about preventive healthcare as well as corrective healthcare, right? Corrective healthcare means that today you're sick, right? You go to see doctors, you take your treatment. Those are corrective, right? Preventive healthcare is, the idea is to prevent you from falling ill, right? Now, I'll ask you the questions. Between corrective and preventive, which one is actually more powerful?
Preventive, the one.
Preventive, right? Preventive is a lot more cost effective, right? It's a lot more powerful as well. So the Singapore government is very forward thinking. So what they know, they understand that you have to spend your budget. Let's say every country has a healthcare budget, right? In many countries I've seen, most of them actually invest in corrective system, right? Invest in treatments, facilities and all that. But very little budget is being spent on the preventive healthcare, right? That's the different story in Singapore. The government understands it's important to invest in, preventive healthcare. So what they do, initially they try to educate the public in Singapore, but they realize that education, just like what we are doing here, right? We can stand here and talk another 1-2 hours and all that. Would you necessarily take the advice and implement it? Chances are yes, maybe not. Right? So what the government realizes is they have to change the structure, they have to change the environment so that healthy choice becomes easier choice for the Singaporeans, right? To make Singaporean healthy, right? So they decide that they are going to change the environment, right? Instead to make the healthy choice easier. And look at what the government of Singapore is doing. There's a whole bunch of things that they're doing, right? Look at all this that we spoke about, right? In terms of food, in terms of movement, in terms of the environment, the government is actually very smart in designing all of the system, right? Just to give you an example, right? There is this thing called the National Steps Challenge in Singapore. It's very interesting, right? What the government is doing is they get the people, you clock every day, you record every day how many steps. You count the steps, right? You know, right?
No,
Yeah.
my brother joined that, and then he said that some auntie also like they
Yeah.
just keep moving when they are sitting.
Excellent. Exactly. Yeah. So the good thing is this: if you get to record 10,000 steps, of course you have to do it generally. You don't just cheat yourself. 10,000 steps, you actually get a discount voucher. Right. That discount voucher gives you entitlement to buy certain groceries and all that at a good price and so on. Right. That's one thing. Second thing is also they work with companies, right, beverage company to lower the amount of sugar. Right. So people, we know that sugar can be very problematic. Right. So they lower the amount of sugar. They have healthy choices. They subsidize brown rice. Right. Subsidized brown rice. In Malaysia, brown rice is more expensive compared to white rice. Right. Brown rice is more expensive, but in Singapore it's the reverse. Right. Because government actually subsidize brown rice because they encourage the population in Singapore to consume more brown rice. So it's this kind of things. Also in Singapore, we all know that there's a lot of subways, right? The main transportation is actually public transportations, right? The feeder bus followed by the LRT and all these things. So people walk a lot, right? People walk a lot. So that it's almost like if you imagine going to the blue zones, people have to climb the mountains and so on. Right? They design Singapore in such a way that they create literally a blue zones environment, right? And look at the impact from Singapore. Singapore life expectancy used to be 65 years. Used to be 65 years. Right? In a matter of a few decades, now it has increased life expectancy to 85 years. A massive 20 years. And not just only that, right? A lot of those Singaporeans are just like the principle of Blue Zone. They don't just live long, but they also live healthily, happily, right? So the environment actually silently shapes our behavior, right? Change the structure, change the outcome, all right? Now, the same Blue Zones concept is now being popularized in many places in the world. An example, you look at this Fort Worth, Texas, in the US, used to be a deserted city like this. But after they implement the Blue Zone principles, the Power 9 that we spoke about, it's actually transformed this into one of the most livable countries, cities rather, in the US. Similarly, I think there are companies that are doing that. Right? Google is not Blue Zones, but Google as an organization, as a company, they're very, very aware of the need to create healthy environment for its own employees as well. Right? Now, the questions to all of you here, especially those online as well, since I know that there's a lot more people online, right? Now, if cities and organizations can design healthy environment, why not us? Can we, you and I here, can we design our environment in such a way that we also live a Blue Zone lifestyle? My questions to you, right? So let's do some, let's do some thinking, right? Can we call it creating our own micro Blue Zones at home and also at work, since we spend, so much time at work and all that, right? So can we actually do that? Anybody wants to give me some examples in terms of what we can do to create the Blue Zones? We call it a micro Blue Zones environment, right? What can we do? Do you have any suggestions from the online?
Yeah, put the chat.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So what can we do?
Auto airplane mode after enter the house.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Downshift. The principle of downshift. It's a good suggestion actually. Yeah.
I can relate to simulate the US Singapore initiative, like having the challenge, like so we can have it the challenge for our family.
Having a what?
The working snap.
Okay.
For our family challenge, that every
Excellent.
week we get the
Yeah.
highest challenge, then get like something discount or some prizes.
Why not? Yeah.
Yep.
Why not? Yeah. It's up to our own imaginations. Bowling, we have anybody from on?
No, so far not
I,
yet.
I think that for me, one of the insurance company that I think they also have this walk challenge. Every week I collect
Okay.
10 ringgit voucher,
Yeah.
5 ringgit voucher.
It's AIA, right? Something like that. I heard about AIA having this vitality program as well.
Yes,
It's
correct.
actually very, very smart. Actually, you raised a very good point, Billy, because the Blue Zones team actually work with a lot of insurance companies. Right? They work with a lot of insurance companies to incorporate the Blue Zone principles into their programs. And that is actually mutually beneficial. On one hand, as an insured, if you do the, let's say how many thousand steps a day, you get the discounts. So you get incentivized to do things. Right? I've seen my friends who's also AIA policy holder. Every time you eat, you go and take the photos. And then the dietitian would send you a picture or save you a comment and give you a rating or something like that. Right? And every day you have the step counts as well. Up to certain times you get, certain awards or something, right? Right. So they have this silver and then gold and then platinum, and each time you go up, you actually get more and more incentive and rewards and so on. And that's good for you because generally, even though we have insurance, you don't want to use the insurance, right? You rather stay healthy rather than, even though you get the claim the insurance, that is only the monetary aspect. Right? How about the suffering, the inconvenience and all that we have to go through? Right? So from the insurance company point of view, it's also beneficial because they can actually, reduce the amount of claim. So it's a win-win situation. Right? So these are all very good suggestions. Thank you for highlighting that. Right? So let's look at some of these things then. We talk about this, right? Keep healthy food visible, hide your junk food. Right? Deliberately, like what Lancel says, lock it up somewhere. So if you want to eat the junk food, also it's so difficult for you. Probably you have to climb the stairs, go through all the obstacles so that you can reach out, right? But why not put your food, right, the healthy food at the eye level, right? We call it a seafood, right? Seafood, seafood, right? Seafood,
Yeah.
right? If your seafood is healthy food, end up you're also going to be eating a lot of healthy food, right? So that's what I mean, right? Keeping your, somebody talking about this, keeping your walking shoes near the door, like keep water within easy reach. Have dinner time together, right? Have dinner time together, create that kind of connection, downshift, now that. Create your own, it's up to your own imaginations, right? Just like what Lenzel says, you can have 10,000 steps challenge also among your family members, so you get rewards and stuff like that, right? Just be a little bit more creative. Similarly at work as well, right? Can you not try to climb the stairs more often instead of all the time rely on your elevators, right? Can you not walk to your colleagues, right, more often instead of texting your colleagues, right? Sometimes a modern world, even it's like just next door, next office, you also send WhatsApp instead of talking to people. Why not you do that, right? I see the environment just now, Intel, sparking, coming here. There's a fair amount of walking that we are doing, which I think is also very good, right? How about walking together with your colleagues, right? How about having a standing meeting instead of us all sitting here? How about let us all stand out and talk, right? Have a meeting, something like that. It's up to your imaginations, right? Now, the idea is this: the people at Blue Zones, they never try to live longer, right? It's not in their mind that they want to live in the 100 years and all that. It's not. It's just the way the lifestyle is being structured, right? Remember we talk about chronological age and biological age, right? Biological age responds to our lifestyle, right? It's how your body behaves. So you have a choice, right? By protecting your energy, the 4 pillars that we talk about, protecting your energy, which is a body system, your recovery system, right? Downshift intentionally, having a purpose in our life, right? The Ikigai, wake up in the morning knowing your purpose, having good connections with family, with your right tribes, right? With the right community-based or faith-based group. Actually, by doing that, longevity became a byproduct of what they do, right? So, today we spoke a lot about, wellness, being healthy and so on. But what I want to say is this: now we are all in a corporate environment, right? We're all in a corporate environment. Wellness is no distinct from performance. Of course, from the company standpoint, you want the people to really perform. You want productivity to be up and so on, right? Wellness, especially in the context of corporate wellness, today many HR still perceive wellness as something that is good to have, but it's optional, right? Something is good to have is optional. So whenever you have a certain wellness activity, it's more like a standalone activity. Whereas if you look at the research today, right, for employees to really perform, wellness is increasingly become an integral part of the overall corporate strategy itself, right? And I say this with data. In 2024, Harvard Business Review published an article, and they did a meta-analysis. And what they realized is, if a company invests in wellness, in corporate wellness, $1 investment in corporate wellness actually can yield a $6 return itself. How does the figure come out? Right? $1 investment in employee wellness, right, can result in a drop of your medical cost by up to $3.27. Right? Likewise, the absenteeism cost can drop by 2.73, which means that $1 invest in corporate wellness actually give you a $6 return, financial return itself. To me, as an entrepreneur, I think this is a very, very investment. Now, how does that result in all this? I think the answers are very, very evident. Right? You have lower healthcare costs, reduced absenteeism, higher productivity, and also improved talent attractions and retentions. I feel very strongly about number 4. Right? Today, companies are fighting to get the best talent. Right? Getting the best talent, I think all the top organizations are trying to recruit the best people. They know that people are the core assets of companies' performance. Right? Now, talent attraction is one thing. Another important issue is talent retentions. Right? If you get the best people to come and work for you, surely you want to give your people the best environment so that they can thrive. Right? So that they can thrive. You don't want to buy a Ferrari. Would you buy a Ferrari and then to give the Ferrari a very bad parts or engine oils and all that. Would you do that? Probably not, right? If you buy a Ferrari, you want to give the Ferrari the best, lubricant, the best engine oil and so forth, so that the Ferrari can actually perform at the top. The same thing with people, right? You get the best people to come and work for you. You want to retain them by giving them the best environment to thrive as well. Corporate wellness has been proven empirically to be one of the core strategies for companies to do that. All right. So I want to end today's presentations. I think I'm out of time, right? I want to end quickly by inviting you, right? Also people online here, to think about some of the questions in life. Right? Now, before I do that, let's talk about this. All of us know we have a life, right? Lifespan is about how many years do we live. But there's another important thing that we need to consider is in terms of our health span, right? You have a long life doesn't mean that you have a healthy life, a meaningful life, right? Health span is how many years, right, we can remain healthy, capable, and independent. Right? I think the question is not just about adding years to life, right? But more importantly, it's also to add life to years. Right? You want both lifespan, and you also want health span. So the question is this: many of us here, and I'm sure, people in Intel as well, right? Are very good at this concept about savings, right? When we talk about savings, most of us here, right, we talk saving in terms of financial terms. Right? I'm sure Intelers very good at investment. How many of you here actually invest in, let's say, your stock market? Do you have people invest in stock market, right? Invest in your savings, different types of instruments and so on, right? So we spend a lot of time to invest, to prepare for our retirement. But are we spending enough time to invest also in our health for the environment, for the retirement? Right? That's the question I ask you to think about. Health is an important retirement capital. And the good thing with health is just like any financial instruments, it also compounds over time. Right? If you invest a small amount over time, consistently, it's going to compound and get you the results in the long run. So there are two options at least, I think. Right? One is about retirement options. Number one is about DDD. Right? Disease. Do we want to retire with disease, doctors, and disabilities? Or do you want to retire with ABC? Right? ABC, active, brain smart, and contributing. Which one do you want? Now, as we build our careers and future, are we protecting the health, energy, and clarity, right, needed to enjoy them? I have this, one of my teachers, Dr. Williams, has always like to tell us this. He says that many people, use their health in order to accumulate the health. But when the time they retire, they actually spend all the wealth that accumulated to regain the health that they have lost. Now, is this something that's the only choice for us? Or can we not do better than that? Okay, the people in blue zones are not superhuman beings. They simply, reduce unnecessary wear and tear over time. Right? The question to you is this: it's not about how long do you want to live, but more importantly is how long do you want to stay fully alive. Right? With that, I will conclude my presentations and look forward to some questions. Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor.
Sure.
I have a question about personal relation. We need at least like 3 friends, right? To have to award the 8 years life schedule. So right now, the trends, people are more to chat with the AI, and they get love with the AI.
Yeah.
So with that also will be to extend their life expectancy because they don't feel loneliness. Although they didn't connect with people, but they connect with AI.
I think we need to do some research on this one. But that's a very interesting question. The whole idea is we are very connected. The example that you mentioned is also, you see, AI is also digital, right?
Yeah.
Right. You say not loneliness. I'm not sure whether AI can give you the same kind of emotional feelings and all that. Right. We talk about connections. It means human to human connections. right? There will be a time after you talk to, you think those people are not lonely, maybe they are really lonely. Maybe because they are lonely, they have nothing, nobody to talk to. Then they go to AI and then they start talking to AI and so on. We don't know, right? But it's good to do that, and I'm sure, you know, I think Billy also spent a lot of time. Huh? I think you, the day you were saying your wife was complaining, you talk more with the AI than talking to me. It's very common phenomenon in today's world. But what the people in Blue Zone are telling us is we connect intentionally, right? Make an effort, right? Go and reach out to people, join some tribes, right? You can have, you know, let's say if AI people, AI community, I'm sure there are tribe of people who also enjoy that kind of thing. Why not connect with people like that as well? Right? Find a certain common, you know, denominators that you can all connect together. That's why I was suggesting, right? People from book club, maybe you're all like Billy, you know, like to read a lot, you know, those people that get together, right? This is your moai and all this. Intentionally do that, right? Make a deliberate and conscious effort to connect. Yeah, there's certain things that the AI cannot replace, right? There's this hormone called the oxytocin, right? The love hormones. The love hormones, right? You can only have the love hormones with people. Right? The AI cannot give you, no matter how smart it is, it cannot give you the love hormones.
But they say like they fall in love with the AI because they like continuously support their ideas or support their emotion, acknowledge their opinions, right? So
Very interesting.
Yeah, maybe get used to like love to chat with AI than people.
Yeah, we see beyond that. I think definitely it's you know, there are a lot of people who are doing that. But let's say, Billy, what do you think about these questions? Like what answers?
One thing comes to my mind is that about the connection. Sometimes we thought that we don't need to do so many meetings because people are more productive working on the computer solving problems, right?
Sure.
My question more like if you want to do connecting like intentionally, sometimes you think that just sit and chit chat would it work alone? Like what kind of connection should we take in or we need really have an agenda so that to make the meetings purposeful? What kind of the connection it means here?
So human connections. Human to human connections. Right. See, the idea is we are not alone, right? Nobody is alone in this world. We are all interdependent, right? We are all interdependent. And say connection doesn't mean that, you know, you could be fall in love with AI, but would you love your family? Sure, you love your family, right? Would you love your parents? You love them, right? And some people have a bigger love as well. Let's say the community faith, right? Belonging to the same group and all that. What you say, Lenzel, is right in the sense of maybe connecting to work and certain aspects in life, right? But we don't just live in that kind of world, right? The idea is if you look at the Blue Zones people, right? They have intentional connection. The connection system is what we are talking about right here. Yeah.
I would foresee the introvert people will be more on to the AI, right?
Introvert people also need love, right?
They're just scared.
Yeah.
I think whether you're introverted or extroverted, it's essentially about the human. When you connect with people, they understand you, they
Right.
empathize with you, you feel good, right?
Yep.
And this is where introvert has less friends, that's fine. Extrovert got a lot of friends, but it's sometimes very shallow.
Yep.
You know, they just go from one to another. But it is the kind of the depth of the relationship, the quality of the relationship that makes the
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If you we will have the robot body already, human-like, and they just give the AI brain. They can show the facial expression.
It's scary. Maybe we have to rewrite the Blue Zone stories.
Yeah, because for now we also very hardly to recognize like the things, the photo and also the video that created by AI, right? We hardly recognize this is a real person or actually it's the AI created. So yeah, we've all already some confusion already.
At the end of the day, I think I still agree with what Dr. Lau says, right? It's the quality of the connection itself, right? We are all human. Ultimately, we are human. We're not robots.
Online somehow on But I do have a question for us here. Have you started any Blue Zone in Malaysia, or like if we want to go for Blue Zone, where do we start first?
I think Blue Zone is still a relatively new concept in Malaysia. But if you look at it in the West, like let's say example that we talk about, the AIA examples. Right? AIA is a US based company. In the US, they are already doing that a lot. That's why you see what you see here with AIA when they came out with the Vitality program. I believe it's anchored along that kind of principles, right? Creating your own micro blue zones environment. Now, in the context of Malaysia, I belong to a group of organizations. I'm part of Health Coach International. Health Coach International is an organization where we have a bunch of certified health coaches coming together, and many of my fellow colleagues and all that, they are actually medical doctors. I mix with quite a lot of medical doctors, and they understand that medical doctors, they coming out from their own words, right? It doesn't solve the root cause of the problems. Right? We spoke about this morning, polling, right?
Yeah.
Right. Today, Western or modern medications primarily look at our body as, different parts, and you treat disease topically, whereas our body is actually one integrated whole, right? So the idea is not treating symptoms, but to treat the root cause itself. So we get together, we have our health coach community, we go and share the message. We practice lifestyle medicines, and Blue Zones is one of the components that we're trying to introduce to the Malaysians as well. It's coming up, right? It's not that evident, but it's something. The overall picture is this: if you look at Blue Zones, it's no different from lifestyle medicines. When we look at lifestyle medicine, we really talk about how you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you handle stress, how you handle all those harmful substances, and finally about social connections. Social connection is the one that we talk so much, right? The connection system and the 4 system that we spoke about, right? These are all lifestyle medicines, and that's something that our community is trying to promote. And I think Intel is very forward thinking as well. Hey, thanks to Billy as well, right? He's very learned and really bring a lot of new concepts. So we have these sessions today that we talk about Blue Zones, right? But the idea about Blue Zone is, I think the key takeaway is about the principle, of course, is one, but more importantly, it's about the fact that you can actually create your own micro Blue Zones. Just like what I invite you to think about, right? What you do at home and what you do at work, right? So yeah, Pauline, that's a current state right now. But you don't have to go far. Just look at Singapore. Singapore is Blue Zone 2.0, right? Think about how the government actually designed.
Government helps
Yeah.
because the pathway, the walkway is very designed for people to walk or cycle. Here, if you were to walk beside the road, you might get banged by cars. And it's so hard.
Absolutely.
And over there, they have already built, a roof or and they open up the stadium for people to go and run, walk, Yeah, and they have this like the vitality challenge
Absolutely.
that encourages any ages of people to participate. So
Exactly.
very good.
Exactly. And you're exactly right. Yeah? 50% of the walkway in Singapore is actually covered, if you look at it. Because why? Because it's like what Pauline says, right? They want to shield people from sunlight. Today, if you don't create the environment, right, would you want to walk? You don't want to walk because you're worried about sun, you're going to sweat a lot, the safety, the rains and all this. But in Singapore, they make it like so walkable,
Correct.
right? Change the structure, right? Change the structure.
Just like the zebra crossing from here, when in Singapore you must stop your car and every zebra crossing. Here we see zebra crossing, we will go accelerate the car.
Yeah.
And then I got a question from Cheng Woi. He mentioned that he feels that there's a social media culture that's over glorified the content about food like various foodie videos. So what do you think of this social media content?
Examples, foodies and all.
I think foodies and all.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it over glorified.
Or like even
Yeah.
Foodies and all. Yeah, that's thank you, Kim Hui, right? Yeah, thank you, Kim Hui, for the question. That is why I asked these questions earlier on during the sharing. Do we live to eat, or do we eat to live? Right? If you think about the Blue Zones people, right, food is medicine. Food is medicine. They understand that, right? That means that you eat in order to live, right? You eat in order to live well, right? But you think about this, what this foodie is saying, like, I don't think they prioritize health, right? They prioritize taste, right? They prioritize fun, all that kind of things. So it's really for people who eat to live, or is it for people who live, or to eat to live, or live to eat? Right? This is more like people who want to live in order to eat, right? So it's a different concept altogether. It's really a different concept altogether.
Can I share with you my own experience about
Yeah.
seeing some whole structure affecting behavior? Bank Nagara actually is a place.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
When I
okay.
was doing some work with Cheng Woi, I went to their canteen. They had one section which actually has this thing called very healthy food, and they subsidize it so well that people actually will find it convenient and probably cost effective to eat healthy food.
Right.
So if you want to eat healthy food, they so-called encourage you. You want to eat normal food? Fine, just pay for it. So I thought that was a very powerful step.
Right.
We are encouraging people to actually, people are motivated by saving. So why not save money, eat healthy?
Right.
So is it the right thing?
Yeah.
So this is a structure. This is what
Yeah.
it calls structure.
Thank you, Dr. Law. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure whether I think you woke up for a short while just now. We talked about the case of Singapore as well, where the government actually subsidized. Yeah,
Sure.
right. That's right. Yeah.
You can't expect people to take the bus because nobody wants to wait in the bus.
Yes,
Right.
And
Right.
our bus schedule doesn't like 1 hour wasted.
So really this is where if you really want to effect the change, you have to look
That's
at
right.
the structure, the environment,
Absolutely.
see how to actually redesign it in such a way that you will bring about the change.
Yeah, I like the Bank Negara examples. Right. Remember we spoke about just now as well, right? And the government subsidized Singapore government subsidized brown rice. Right. So it's actually cheaper to eat brown rice. Whereas here, brown rice, the price is actually more expensive. So it's more expensive, right? You discourage people from all more expensive. But imagine if basmati and all this are cheaper, right? I think you encourage more people to do that. Right. So that's an example of what Dr. Low was sharing just now, Bank Negara case. Right. For healthy food, they actually subsidize it. So you want to change the structure, change the environment so that you encourage the behavior. Make healthy choice the easy choice. That's the idea. Right. All right.
One last question, I think. Just now we talked about we need to move around, right? The movement is also very important for our health.
Area.
So I have a dilemma about this. Why? Because for my taman itself, right, the park actually is built just beside the main road, and the main road actually is like mostly utilized by all the big trucks and lorry. And after I done my work like at 5 or 5:30, then I want to go to have some movement at that park. Then you were like running at that park beside the main road, and you get like inhale so many of the emission, the vehicle exhausted emission. So is this a healthy move or actually is not?
I think you have a choice, right? I'm sure you have a choice.
Because I can see most of the people actually running on that path at that time. Like maybe like 5:30 to 7:30, and this is the peak period that people using this main road channel like go back home. So actually that so many car and big truck over there.
Yeah, I can understand why. Definitely, yeah, that's another issue. That's a bigger picture, But I'm sure you have choices as well, right? You can perhaps go elsewhere, That is after work. But when we talk about movement also, it's not just about the deliberate part of it, right? After work and all that. But we really talk about just in your daily practice. For example, now you're sitting here for almost an hour, right? Can you not stand out and just have a conversation? And people have a meeting, right? Like the example of instead of texting your colleagues, why not go to them, have a connection, right? Talk to them and things like that. It's a deliberate actions on our part, right? The step counts. Right? If you watch your step counts, I do 13,000 every day. Every day, without fail, 13,000.
Okay.
So I deliberately, I'm just imagine myself, I'm in the blue zone, so I've got to walk, right? Can you climb your stairs? right? During your office hour, can you climb stairs instead of just taking elevators? Right?
Stairs.
Yeah, things like that. This is what I'm talking about. Move naturally, right? Instead of taking movement and your lifestyle as something separate that you have to just, do it. Of course, it's good to do, right? But over and beyond that, over and above that, can we incorporate that naturally? Right? People at Blue Zone, they don't go to gym. Huh? There's no idea as going to gym. There's probably no gym there as well, right? But they walk. It's the same thing as going to do your cardio, running on the treadmill. They don't go to the gym and lift weight, but they do the gardening, right? They do gardening, right? They lift buckets of water, things like that. It's as good as weightlifting.
Their way of living already living in the gym.
Yeah. So that's the idea, right? Yeah. So thank you for the questions. Yeah. Do we have that?
Yes, this is the same similar question Ryan has on mine about your advice for those sitting long photos and sitting in the office for long hours. So I think you have already answered.
Okay. Thank you for the questions. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's really a lifestyle change that we have to incorporate into our lifestyle rather than do something that is out of the norm, right?
Create the structure that allows you, to be healthy. Right? That's what the Blue Zones people, they don't intentionally plan to live up to 100 years, but it's just the lifestyle, that they live. Right? Longevity is a byproduct of their lifestyle. Right? Conventionally, Blue Zones is a natural thing, but today we know you can actually create your own Blue Zones by changing the structure. Right? Change the structure, change the behavior. Right? Ultimately change the outcome. That's the key message that I want to share with the rest.
Okay.
Okay.
I posted the sleep recovery.
No, sorry. You just submit and mention.
Yeah, I've already uploaded. So, Dr. Tan, do you want to elaborate more on the sleep and recovery for your next upcoming sharing with us?
Okay. So this is about let's say today we talk about Blue Zones. Right? This is to do with your downshift, right? Sleep and recovery. Sleep is unlike what many people think. I see a lot of it's a subject that I'm very passionate about. Right? I think in the corporate context, many people think that sleep is actually a downtime. It's actually a downtime. You're not productive when you sleep. Right? But the science is actually telling us otherwise. Right? The moment you sleep, the body is actively doing the repairing, recalibrations and rejuvenations. I always like to describe sleep as the Swiss Army knife of health. Right? First thing, physically, there's no part of the body doesn't benefit from sleep. Good night of restorative sleep itself. Every part of your body, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, everything, right? Talking about your metabolisms, your hormone regulations, everything is benefiting from it, number one. Number two, cognitively, right? Our brain, especially that part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, which is your leadership brain. Right? As leaders, we want to make good decisions. We want to have good judgment. Right? We want to have good emotional regulations. So sleep is a time when your brain actually recalibrates. So you're cognitively better, emotionally more resilient when you sleep well. Right? So those are the benefits that we would get by having a good restorative sleep and recovery. And that's what I would share with people. Right? And I also know that a lot of people nowadays is almost very common. Like many people experience sleep difficulties, right? Inability to downshift and all. What are some of the evidence-based, strategies that we can use? So what I will do, I would unravel the science, and then we'll go through a diagnostic to identify what are the opportunities area that you can actually, optimize. And then we look at interventions. What are the strategies that we can do in order for you to optimize your sleep and recovery so that you become not just a better person, but also a better leader, you're healthier and you're more productive and performing well at work and in life in general. So that is the things that we are going to dive deep. during the sessions.
Yeah, so make sure you all I have one more question. One final question. Are there studies how blue zone avoid molecular tissue loss due to aging that when natural warming can't address that?
Can you say the question again?
Are there studies how blue zone avoid molecular or tissue loss due to aging that natural warming can't address that?
That's a very interesting question. I'm not sure if I have the questions, the answers for you. But if you look at, we talk about biological age. I guess you talk about molecular and all this. Biological age itself. I'm not sure whether I can answer you properly, but a lot of people think that, sometimes we talk about aging, right? There are days when people think that people who live long, usually it's because of the gene. Right? They have better genes and therefore they can live longer. But what I realize is this studies, especially when it comes to functional medicines, right? Functional medicine is proving that this concept about epigenetic itself, right? The gene actually is responsible for 20% of longevity. There's 80% that is outside the genes itself, right? And that 80% is primarily lifestyle driven. That means the food that you eat, right? Food as medicine, movement as medicine, sleep and recovery as medicine, all those kind of things, like social connections, all the principles that we talk about collectively under the blue zones, and I'll classify this in a bigger context as a lifestyle medicine itself, collectively account for 80% of aging and longevity itself. So that's why science is increasingly moving from just conventional medicines now moving into functional and lifestyle medicines. And I believe this is a trend. Right? We talk about preventive healthcare as opposed to corrective healthcare.
That all of you already have the tips into your pocket from Dr. Tan. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you all. Have a nice day.